All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dive deep into one of the most psychologically intense and honestly dramatic stories from ancient literature. It's all about a king at the absolute peak of his power, a terrifying vision that rocks his world, a complete mental collapse, and then a stunning transformation. This is the story of Nebuchadnezzar from chapter 4 of the book of Daniel. But here's the thing, we're actually going to start at the end. These are the final words of the chapter, and they're spoken by the king himself. He's not boasting, he's not commanding, he's humbled. He's praising a power that he now knows is far greater than his own. For a man who saw himself as the center of the universe, this is a shocking, shocking conclusion. And that's our central question for today. Really, what could possibly happen to a monarch with absolute power, a guy who built one of the wonders of the ancient world, to bring him to this point? A point of total submission and praise. It's a psychological mystery, and we are going to unravel it together.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We have to start with the king's dream, or really, the moment right before it. To understand just how far he fell, you have to see the incredible height he fell from. The story opens, and Nebuchadnezzar is at the absolute, the very pinnacle of his success.
He's not just feeling good, he is flourishing. And get this, in the original Aramaic, the word used for flourishing is the exact same term used to describe a healthy, thriving, green tree. It's this little detail, right? But it's so important because it foreshadows everything that's about to happen.
And right into this bubble of perfect peace, this sense of untouchable security, comes a vision in the night. And this isn't just some weird dream. It's a vision so terrifying it just shakes this unshakable king right to his core. He immediately calls in every wise man, magician, and soothsayer in all of Babylon to tell him what it means.
But here's the problem. They can't. Not a single one of them can make sense of the vivid, cosmic, and terrifying imagery that haunted the king's sleep. So, what did he see? Let's step inside the dream with him.
So the first thing he sees is this powerful, powerful image. A single, magnificent tree planted right in the center of the world. It's like the axis of everything.
And yeah, this isn't just any tree. We're talking about a cosmic tree. It is so immense, so huge, its canopy is literally touching the sky. It's a visible bridge between the earth and the heavens.
Its whole purpose, its function, is to be this source of life for everyone and everything. The dream shows its fruit feeding every creature, its branches sheltering the birds, its shade protecting all the animals. It is the provider for the entire world.
And then everything changes. The terror hits. A divine messenger, what the text calls a holy one, comes down from heaven and screams a command. Destroy this magnificent, life-giving tree. Chop it down, scatter its fruit, drive away every living thing. But, and you gotta catch this part, it's vital, leave the stump and its roots in the ground, bound up with iron and bronze. So it's destruction, yes, but not total annihilation.
So all the king's wise guys, they fail. They've got nothing. So finally, Daniel is called in. And the source suggests the king probably called him last because deep down, he already had a bad feeling about what the dream meant and was hoping someone would tell him otherwise. And Daniel, wow. He hears it and he's so disturbed he's literally speechless for a moment, totally hesitant to drop this bombshell on the king.
Then Daniel just lays it all out, and it's chilling. He directly maps the description of the tree onto the king himself. That tree that grew great and strong, the one whose top reached the heavens. Daniel looks at him and says, "It is you, O king." There's just no denying it. It's crystal clear. The king is the tree, and that command to cut it down, that is a judgment against him. But here's the thing. Daniel doesn't just drop this terrible news and walk away. He gives the king a way out, an off-ramp, a way to maybe avoid the whole disaster. He tells him, change your ways, practice justice, show some mercy to the poor and afflicted. It's a chance for the king to humble himself before he's humbled by force. A chance that, tragically, he just ignores.
So, the king got his warning. He had his chance. And now,
Now we get to see how his choice leads directly to the prophecy's shocking and complete fulfillment.
A full year. A whole 12 months goes by. The king is taking a stroll on the roof of his palace, looking out over the magnificent city of Babylon he built. And in that moment, he says these words. I mean, this is the ultimate statement of pride. It's all I, my power, my majesty. He takes all the credit for everything.
And literally while the words are still in his mouth, a voice from heaven booms down, declaring his kingdom is gone. The hammer falls. Immediately. You can see it on the timeline here. He gets that 1-year grace period, which he totally wastes. Then comes the judgment, this period called 7 times, where he completely loses his mind. And only after that does his understanding finally return.
And the details of what happens to him, they're just stunning in how specific they are. This isn't just about losing his crown. This is a total, complete dehumanization. He's kicked out of society to live with wild animals, eating grass like a cow. The text describes his body being out in the elements, his hair growing long like eagle's feathers, and his nails becoming like birds' claws. It's an absolute reversal. The most powerful man in the world is reduced to a wild, animal-like state.
Okay, so you might be thinking this is just a wild, straightforward story, right? Well, if that's all you see, you're missing the most incredible part. Let's pull back the curtain here, because the source material shows that this story is an absolute masterpiece of literary design with these incredible hidden layers of structure and symbolism.
Right. The judgment lasts for 7 times. That phrase, that number, it's the key to the whole thing.
So what does 7 times actually mean? The source here suggests, hey, don't get hung up on thinking this is 7 literal years on a calendar. In this ancient world, the number 7 meant completion, a full, perfect cycle. It means Nebuchadnezzar had to go through a complete period of judgment and purification before he could possibly be restored.
And this is where you really see the literary genius at play. The whole chapter is built as something called a chiasm, a literary structure that literally folds in on itself, like a mirror image. Look at this. It opens with the king's praise, moves to the dream, and the centerpiece is Daniel's interpretation. Then it reflects back on itself in reverse. The dream is fulfilled, and it ends with the king's final, transformed praise. What you end up with is this perfectly symmetrical story of a fall and a redemption.
And that tree, the symbolism there goes so deep. This wasn't just some random image. It was a powerful, ancient symbol of the axis mundi, the cosmic tree that connects heaven and earth. The source makes this really powerful connection. This tree is like the tree of knowledge from Genesis, a symbol of the authority and the right to rule. So Nebuchadnezzar's big sin, it wasn't just garden-variety pride. No, he was trying to seize a divine authority for himself that he thought he had earned.
So, all of this brings us to the core lesson, the main takeaway from the whole story. This entire, beautifully crafted narrative is really a timeless parable. It's a profound warning to anyone, anywhere, in a position of power. True power, real authority, it's not something you can just seize by the might of your power. It's a gift. It's a stewardship that you receive from a higher source.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. This ancient text presents a complete breakdown, a total loss of power, status, even sanity, as the necessary step to find true wisdom and be restored. So my question for you is, what is this ancient blueprint for breaking a ruler down and building them back up? What does that mean for how we think about power, humility, and leadership in our world today?